This is a quick video to answer the question why I recommend Gusto for payroll. I interact most often with a lot of brand new business owners, and often they will need to hire help eventually, even if it's just contractors, so they ask for my opinion about payroll providers. And sometimes solopreneurs even need to put themselves on payroll because their businesses will have grown enough that it makes sense to become an S Corp, and then they're required to take payroll. So let me share my reasons why I recommend Gusto. But as you listen, you're going to be hearing the types of things that you need to be looking for when comparing payroll software. You always want to do your own homework and check out other platforms. All right, y'all, let's dive in. The first reason I'll give is that I am a satisfied customer. In 2020, I made an S Corp election and had to choose a payroll provider. And I really liked what Gusto was doing in the accounting profession. So they were already on my radar as a good option. But I've truly been a satisfied small business customer, y'all. I've relied on their support resources for my own payroll. For instance, I'm a military spouse and we have something called the Residency Relief Act, which is kind of obscure, but it means that I don't have to pay state taxes in the states where I live because I'm officially a Texas resident. They were able to help me quickly navigate that little quirk that had to be done manually. Then I actually do have a second employee who's my 11-year-old, which, by the way, you can learn more about hiring children in your business and my overall thoughts about it in a video that I'll link below, and that should be popping up right here. But they helped me get him all set up as well. I've also paid quite a few contractors at different times throughout the year for different tasks. And Gusto makes it really easy because then I don't have to mess with giving those contractors a 1099. As long as I only pay them through Gusto, Gusto takes care of that 1099 for me, and it's really easy to get them paid and for me to be in compliance with 1099s each year. The user interface of Gusto is also very easy on the eyes and pleasing to look at. I do appreciate that. I would say that people who really value design and user or customer experience in software design will be very pleased. All right, the next reason I like Gusto is because it is a full service payroll provider. That means they handle everything from having the system where you onboard your employees and run your payroll to actually moving the funds via direct deposit all the way to filing all the required federal and state and sometimes even local tax filings for some of you who have local taxes. I don't believe in anyone doing payroll on their own, doing payroll. Like there are some ways that accounting professionals might tell you to calculate your own employee tax withholdings and submit your own 940s and 941s to the IRS and all your state filings, but there's just too much that can go wrong. Too many issues with remote workforces spread out all over the country nowadays. I don't even think accounting professionals like myself should do payroll like was the case even just a decade ago. The options for full service outsourced payroll like Gusto are just too good and they're not too expensive. And speaking of full service, Gusto can even do your state tax registrations for you, which more and more I'm realizing is 100% worth the cost of that add-on service. I used to do this for clients, but I'm pretty close to swearing off that completely unless clients pay me a whole lot of money. I even know what I'm doing when I'm doing state tax registrations, and it is still terrible and confusing. And I'm certain that any business owner will be better off just letting the service do the state registrations for you. All right, another reason I recommend Gusto is that Gusto can scale with you. You might have pretty basic payroll needs at first because you have 1 or 2 employees. You can even get started with Gusto by their contractor only plan, and then you might move up to 1 or 2 employees. And then if you plan on growing beyond that, Gusto grows with you. They can become essentially your full HR department. So instead of having to find another service for human resource stuff, you can lean on Gusto for your job postings and your tracking applicants and onboarding documents and offboarding documents and benefits. Gusto can pretty much handle almost any benefit that you can think of, like health insurance, retirement accounts, and so much more. It's going to be very, very unfun to pick one payroll company for the early part of your business and then find that you outgrow it and have to migrate everything. So I like that Gusto has options for the really, really small and simple businesses, but then can scale for the folks who need those added features. Hey, can I jump in here really quickly and share a little bit of information that will help me and it will help you? I have a referral link to Gusto that gets you a deal. If you use my link below, or if you just go directly to heritagebusinessservices.com/gusto-deal, you will get a $100 Visa gift card once you run your first payroll. Full disclosure, I also receive a referral commission if you use my link. You can always count on me to tell you when I might receive compensation for something that I recommend. It would be very sketchy if I didn't tell you that. All right, another thing I like about Gusto, and that's important, is that it handles payroll in all 50 states. Surprisingly, some payroll services don't serve all 50 states, but you might want to hire someone who lives in any of the 50 states. And so you won't be limiting your hiring pool because your payroll provider doesn't work in the state where the person that you want to hire lives. Another great feature of Gusto is that they have a feature called autopilot for your salaried employees that runs payroll for you on your set schedule. So you can set that up and you're not actually having to go into the software, like by close of business on a certain day to make sure that payroll gets run on Friday or anything like that. You won't have to do those handwritten checks if you miss it. Autopilot is really helpful for businesses that have very simple salaried employees. Another great feature is that Gusto does have time tracking built in natively to their system. Some competing payroll products have time tracking as an add-on app for a fee, but simple time tracking is built right into Gusto. Another reason I like Gusto is that it is built for my ideal client. I serve very small businesses, like less than 10 people. My clients value simplicity and are not building enormous, complex enterprises, but they do want to make a very good living for their expertise, and Gusto is built for that. I am constantly reminding small business owners not to overbuy their software solutions. The marketers for those really big payroll companies are going to market to you, but a small business with like 1 to 10 employees should not be using a software that can handle businesses with 500 employees. The engineering and the pricing behind those products are just not a good match. I also like that Gusto integrates with FreshBooks. And so some viewers might not know this, but I specialize in the FreshBooks bookkeeping software. So if you don't use FreshBooks, you can skip ahead about 20 seconds in this video. Now, I've made it clear in other technical tutorials I've made that I don't actually like or recommend the FreshBooks and Gusto integration as of spring 2023. I don't recommend turning it on yet. But that is really much more about the limitations of FreshBooks than the limitations of Gusto. But it is the only payroll software that has made an effort to integrate. And so what that tells me is that as FreshBooks improves and builds out its chart of account functionality, which is required to have really robust payroll integrations, y'all, then Gusto is going to be right there, ready to do the quick work to get a robust integration built. And until then, we just have to handle things a little more manually inside of the FreshBooks accounts. But that's the case with any payroll softwares, FreshBooks users as of spring 2023. And the last reason I'll tell you I recommend Gusto is that Gusto is making huge investments in the accounting community. You might not think that this is important for you, but I think it is. In the last 18 months, Gusto has rolled out an award-winning 3-tier education path and certification program for accounting and bookkeeping professionals. So this means that they are helping make sure that small businesses have qualified professionals to help them. I think it's an indirect way of caring about businesses and the hard workers of America by making sure that the broader accounting community is trained and has updated and current education as it relates to payroll, because it is a very fast-changing world we live in, y'all. Gusto even has an in-house economist that studies and tracks much of their data that they push out to us accountant users so that we can be better equipped to serve you. So I think that this is a lot about the company and is one of my reasons for recommending it. All right, I hope you found this helpful. Again, if you did appreciate it, please use my referral link to get your Gusto account started. And let me know if you need any help getting set up. If you use FreshBooks and need assistance from a bookkeeper, reach out with any questions that you have, and I'll make a video about it if I don't already have one made. I'm Kate Josephine Johnson, and I help businesses build their business legacy.